Cyprus. The euro's hit a 4-month low versus the US dollar today. We'll bring you up to date. But first, let's look at the detail of what's going on there today. After a turbulent 2 weeks and a bailout deal that will see some depositors losing a large chunk of their money, some relief for ordinary bank customers who are struggling without access to cash. The country's banks will finally reopen.
These measures would allow for people to receive their salaries, though a major concern as the end of the month approaches. Security guards are being drafted in to prevent scuffles in banks when they reopen their doors. These controls are designed to stop those large investors set to lose a chunk of their savings in Cypriot banks from simply withdrawing their money and prompting a bank collapse. Many of those investors are Russian, but there are some in the enclave of Limassol who believe the situation will return to normal.
I feel we have the resources. I feel extremely confident as a security company that we can undertake and meet the requirements of our customers.
Is that a good idea, to open all the banks at one time?
All the banks have to service all the customers. So yes, it's a good idea to open all the banks at one time. How people feel, it depends on the individual, what they have lost and in what situation they're in and so on. Let's not forget the banks have been closed for many days now. So it's towards the ending of the month where people have to get paid. And so there will be many logistical challenges in the financial sector and in the local community. But I think we can overcome this.
Businesses that need to transfer funds overseas to pay for imports will be allowed, only if they fulfil strict government requirements. Anger against the EU in Nicosia is growing.
Why we are all angry? Because this is not Europe of solidarity. This is not Europe of support. This is not the Europe that we have all believed in.
Which country's next? Is it Malta? Malta may be next, maybe Spain. They're experimenting with us. The Cypriot Central Bank has confirmed that the banks will reopen on Thursday, 10 days after pulling down the shutters to avoid a run on cash.
This is the first time in the European Union's history that capital controls have been introduced in any such measure. They're being done so because of the emergency nature of the crisis. But even so, in Cyprus, they will be watching carefully to see if any confidence has returned.
These are live pictures right now from the Cypriot capital, Nicosia, where there's heavy security as the government expects a rush to withdraw money. The banks were closed during talks to secure a rescue loan to stop the country from going bankrupt. But there are strict limits on how much people can withdraw once the banks reopen. No one can take more than $3,800 in cash out of Cyprus at a time. Daily withdrawals will be limited to $380, and no paper checks can be cashed. The measures also affect electronic banking. Credit and debit card transactions will be capped at $6,400 a month.